Good morning. Today is August 10th, 2025. I'm reading from the Book of Wisdom out of the Apocrypha, chapter 14, page 777. From chapter 14. Imagine a man is preparing for a trip. He's about to board a ship that must sail through rough waves. So the man cries out for protection to a little piece of wood that is even more flimsy than the boat that will carry him. Desire for profit led to the ship's planning, and wisdom was the artisan who built it. But your watchful guidance, Father, pilots the ship. You made a way in the sea, a sure path through strong waves. You have shown us that you can rescue us from anything, so that even those who have no skill can put out to sea. Your will is that the works of your wisdom be fruitful. This is the only reason, in the end, why humans can entrust their lives to cheap pieces of wood and can reach land safely by riding the breaking surf on a ship that is no more than a raft. Near the beginning, at a time when proud giants were being destroyed, the hope of the world escaped on just such a raft. This was how the genetic character of a new generation survived for the world to come. They were steered the whole way by your hand, praised by the wood by means of which it has now become possible for us to do what is right. But idols made by human hands are cursed, as are those who make them. Those who make them are cursed because they make them. The idols are cursed because, though made of corruptible material, people call them gods. Both are equally hateful to God. The godless craftsmen and the products of their godlessness. The things that has been produced will be punished along with the one who produced it. Therefore, God will come in judgment on the nation's idols. For they have turned a part of God's creation into something that God hates. They have produced stumbling blocks for the well-being of humans, a trap set to spring when the feet of the foolish step into it. The very notion of idols was the beginning of immoral sexual activity. The invention of idols ruined human life. In the beginning, idols didn't exist, and they won't last forever. They came into the world through the empty-headed imaginings of humans. Therefore, they'll come to a quick end. Imagine a father overcome with the grief of an untimely death of his child. In his grief, he makes an image of the child, the person who was once a corpse, but now honors as a god. He passes it on to those under his authority, along with certain mysteries and special ceremonies. As time goes by, his godless custom becomes tradition. Eventually, his custom becomes law, and rulers orders the people to worship these carved images. These rulers, moreover, lived far away from most of their subjects. So because the people couldn't pay their respects in person, they imagined what the ruler looked like and made an image of their honored leader. By their diligent efforts, they were thus still able to shower the king with their flattery. But the artist's desire to be recognized by his work also incited the fools to an even ever greater intensity of worship. Perhaps out of a desire to please the person in power, the artist makes the most of his artistic skill to fashion an even more beautiful and perfect image. The masses, charmed by the object's workmanship, now began to consider the object worthy of their worship. Were not long before they had only honored the person as a human being. In this way, idolatry becomes a trap for one's life. I love how God wraps things up. Whether it is because of a father's misfortune, or because people are ordered to do so, stones and plants begin to be called by the name that was never supposed to be shared with anything or anyone. Then, As if it weren't enough that they should err concerning the knowledge of God, other things follow. When living ignorantly in the midst of a great war, people call such evil things peace. Then, in the celebration of secret religious ceremonies involving the ritual murder of children, or in hidden mysteries, or in the mad orgies of strange worship practices, people stop keeping their lives and their marriages pure. Instead, one person plots to kill another by lying in ambush. Another person causes grief by becoming sexually involved with another person's spouse. Everything becomes a confused mix of blood, murder, theft, and deception, corruption, breaking one's word, upheaval, false pledges. All these things abound. What is good is shouted down. Favors are forgotten. Entire beings are stained with guilt. Legitimate genealogy is lost. Marriage is thrown into confusion. Adultery and promiscuity abound. The worship of nameless idols in the origin of all evil, its cause as well as its result. People begin to party so wildly that they all go mad. They prophesy lies. They live in such a way that everything they do is wrong. They bear false witness. But because they have entrusted themselves into the hands of lifeless idols, they don't expect any harm to come from swearing false pledges. A double judgment will hunt them down. First, because they acted wickedly towards God when they gave their attention to idols. And second, because they made solemn pledges falsely out of contempt for what is holy. It isn't the power of the things by which they made these solemn pledges, but justice that will pursue them until it punishes them for their wrongdoing. But you, our God, are good and true. You are very patient. You govern everything with mercy. Even if we sin, we will still belong to you because we know your power. But we won't sin, since you consider us as your own. Perfection of life is to know you. To recognize your power is the root from which everlasting life grows. The misguided art of humans didn't deceive us, nor did the fruitless labor of clever painters, even when they created an image that was dazzling in its combination of colors. The sight of idols, however, creates desire in fools. They begin to long for the dead statue's lifeless image. Those who make them, those who want them, and those who worship them are all lovers of wicked things. They all deserve to have their hopes misdirected in this way. The potters take great pains to mold the clay. They make each piece for our use. They make some containers to be used for holy purposes. Others will be used for ordinary purposes. Both pieces are made from the same clay. And both are made in the same way. But the use in which each is put is left up to the judgment of the potter. The potter takes great care. But it is an evil care to design a useless god from the very same clay that only a moment beforehand came from the same earth from which the potter themselves also had been taken. It is the same earth to which the potter will one day return when their entire being's debt has been paid back. Yes, the potters don't worry that they are going to come down with some terrible disease, or even that they will have only a short life. Rather, they spend all their time competing with the goldsmith and the silversmith, imitating the bronze workers, and thinking it's the greatest honor imaginable that they spend their lives making counterfeit gods. Their hearts are nothing but rust. Their hopes are more useless than dirt. Their lives are more less than the clay they mold. Why? Because the potters don't know who made them. They don't know who breathed life into them and made them move, who put a spirit in them to become a living being. They think that life is just a game. They think that our day-to-day existence is just a profit-seeking carnival. As they say, you must earn a living however you can, even if it means doing the wrong thing. These people know better than anyone else that they are sinning when they give shape to equipment and images that are easily broken, because they are both fashioned from the same earthly material. But the people who are most foolish of all, and even more to be pitied than the soul of a little child, are the enemies who oppressed your people. These enemies considered the nation's idols to be gods, even though their idols have no eyes for seeing, no nostrils for breathing air, no ears for hearing, no fingers for touching, and no feet for walking. A mere human made them. A person who had been given his spirit on loan crafted them. But no human is ever able to fashion a god who is anything like God. Being a human, a person can construct only a dead thing with lawless hands. These people are better than the things that they worship, for they have life, and the things that they worship do not. On top of it all, the enemies of your people worship the most hateful animals, things that are less intelligent than any other creatures. Even as animals, there's nothing appealing or beautiful about them. They have neither the praise nor the blessing of God. So that's the word I have this morning for AI, I guess, artificial intelligence. That's what this scriptures are about. Have a good one.